Welcome to the Well-Oiled Canine Podcast, where your dog's health is our top priority. I'm Dana Brigman, a canine nutritionist and certified holistic pet health coach, specializing in aromatherapy, homeopathy, and herbs. Join me on a mission to help your dog eat better, feel better, and live longer. Now let's dive into a world of natural pet care and discover the secrets to a happier, healthier pup. Visit me at welloiledcanine.com.
Do.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's Dana Brigman and Angela Keith, and we are here to talk about dogs today. My business is the Well-Oiled Canine, and that's Well-Oiled Canine letter. I can't even talk.
Letter K, number 9.
.com. Thank you. Welloiledcanine.com. Good grief. And my website is out there, and I have a members group that's starting up, and would love to have some of you guys join in that. There's a lot of read-only content available to everybody, but then there's a membership section that has a lot of depth. All my protocols are in there. So trying to really make information and resources available to everybody. So
really, really good forum.
I like it. I think people are a little bit afraid of it because it's a different experience, but I want people to think of it like a library, right? Yeah. Like today I want to know about whatever topic. And
it's super simple. You just go to the search bar and put in whatever it is, and it shows you all of the articles that you've tagged that topic in.
Exactly.
It's silly simple.
Silly simple, but people are really freaked out about it. And I'll say we just started an essential oil class in there. Some of you watching this at a later date, it may be too late, but we'll offer it again. But it's going to be, helping people get really comfortable with using essential oils. Because if anybody was like I was, I bought a starter kit that had a bunch of oils in it, and it sat on the shelf of my closet for over a year because I didn't know how to use them. And I think that's where a lot of people are as they're trying to get started. It's a scary thing because we've never used it before and don't know what to expect. So I'm trying to address some of that.
Excellent. Remind me, I have a client that wants to sign up.
Awesome. Tell them about your business.
So I'm 456 Canine Coach for short. That's 4 paws, 5 directions, 6 tricks. And I'm just kind of following in Dana's footsteps. She's been my mentor for a long time, and I love what she does, and I respect it. And so I'm sort of taking off with where she is with behavior and nutrition and everything else a little bit further up the coast than she is. Eventually we will join forces.
One day, if I'm not too old by then.
Never.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about seasonal allergies with our dogs. And it's really not a lot different than it is for people, right? I mean, they have the same effects sometimes of breathing in the pollen or the pine or the whatever is in bloom. They have the added benefit of getting it on their paws and licking it, or having it on their coat if they're rolling in the grass. So all of those things can create some flare-ups. So what's been your experience?
I have a white dog. If you have a white dog, you understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
We have dealt with allergies for 10 years now, but we have finally come to a really good maintenance level with Gouda, specifically, and that's just being proactive about it, not waiting until she's red and itchy and bleeding from scratching, but we just kind of keep her on a good balance of oils and herbs all year long, and then we add some extra support when the seasons come.
Yeah. And so we start with a fresh, balanced diet.
Yep.
Gouda's now on the Chi Dog. Is that still true?
She knows. So we're actually on Medicus kidney
Okay.
diet,
Mhm.
and we're doing half of that kidney diet, and we're doing half raw. So she's
Okay.
getting steamed vegetables and sardines mostly, some red
Mhm.
meat once a week.
And sometime we're going to come back and talk about the fact that her kidney levels have continued to improve
Continue
with
to
your
improve.
effort. So that's
Yes, we're doing a lot, but something's working.
keep it up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So what has been your action plan, as you go into the season of spring? What do you do? What's your sort of protocol?
Yep. So we're already on a good diet. If you're not on a good diet, again, that's the first step. We increase immune support. I actually will increase probiotic digestive enzymes if necessary. She's already on double all of that because of the kidneys, but even before so, we would double up on that kind of stuff as the seasons were approaching, just to make sure the body is completely healthy and prepared to, fight off these allergens. And and we use a couple herbs. Is it okay if I share brand names?
Sure.
So I really like Gold Standard products. They have an herb blend called Cesarix,
Mhm.
and we use that every day for a couple years now, and it really seemed to definitely keep us at a maintenance level all year. Of course, we do our Ninja Red. We'll see, what else do we do? Uh, Probiotic, digestive enzymes, Cesarix. I should have made a list before I started talking.
Are you still doing sulfurzyme?
Sulfurzyme, I was for a long time. Once we started adding all of the kidney supplements, I cut that one back.
Okay.
I cut back some stuff just because we were adding so many other supplements. But the
Right.
sulfurzyme really, really, I saw a huge difference after Candace said start sulfurzyme. That
Right.
was a game changer.
And and just so people know, you can kind of mix and match. So even though you're on a digestive enzyme, think about zymes. It's all sort of trying to help the digestive system work more efficiently. And when we think about sulfurzyme, it's putting MSM, sulfur. Seems to me there's something else in there that's, and I'm not going to remember, but you add that to the body, right? So if you've got a digestive enzyme that you've doubled up on, it's possible to do the digestive enzyme and the sulfurzyme, one in the morning and one at night instead of two of one, or so you could. The point I'm trying to make is sometimes we have to experiment.
Yeah.
Right. There are no magic potions. I don't care what anybody on the interwebs or any product tells you. Um, some things work better than others, but
Yeah.
for the individual dog, you got to find the right little concoction of things that's going to work for that particular dog.
Yep. We've tried many things over the years, and that seems to be her winning combination. Is the Cesarix, the Ninja Red. I know there's something else I'm adding every day. I'm trying to go down the list in my head.
Are you doing milk thistle, dandelion root, any liver
She
detox?
gets milk thistle every day. She gets turmeric every day. There's a Chinese herb that she gets that's it's used a lot for mast cell tumors, but it has just a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I can never remember the name of that. But if anybody wants to know the name, just reach out.
Yeah.
It does have to come through a veterinarian though.
Okay. If you think of it, message me and I'll add it in the text when we post the video.
Yeah, yeah.
But so kind of what I want everybody to hear from this is that we're trying to do a couple of things. We're trying to get the digestive system working properly, right? So that the nutrients going in are well absorbed, that the immune system is trying to get stronger so that when it is hit with a histamine flood of whatever, that it knows how to fight back, and that we give it some tools to help it do that. And because all of these things have to get managed through the kidneys and the liver. That's why we're adding things like dandelion root and milk thistle, is to help process those things out. Not
Juniper berry is a good one. We used to do
what
juniper
is
berry.
what?
Juniper berry,
Oh
a
yeah.
tincture with dandelion. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So, strengthen the immune. I made a couple of notes ahead of time. Strengthen the immune system, and so Angela's talking about that with probiotics. You may hear people mention colostrum, as it can be helpful to the immune system and to reduce our response to some of the allergens in the air. Another product that I have really started to love, even personally, is the Beam minerals. So I know my diet is not optimal, and they talk about our soils are depleted of nutrients, and therefore even the plants and the animals that we eat don't have the same nutrient profile they used to have 50, 60 years ago, right? So adding in minerals has been really helpful. In that product, they also have fulvic and humic acids, which will help support detoxification. So again, these things that cause these histamine responses are coming in, and we need to detoxify them out. And so those types of fulvic humic acid products can be helpful.
Is that on your link tree?
Yeah, so my link tree shifted a little bit. In fact, the gold standard process that you mentioned is now out there. Linktree has this new thing, which is kind of awesome. But my link tree was getting so big that I could not even find what I was looking for, let alone expect you guys to figure out where it was in the categories, right? So my link tree now will divert you back to my website,
Okay.
ultimately. And it's all categorized and searchable. So anyway, yeah, so it's all out there.
Excellent.
But Angela mentioned really trying to do anti-inflammatories, and that's really what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
So add omega-3s. Most people, when you look at a bottle of omega, it's going to be some maintenance dose. And it's probably in the range of 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day. So you'll see at 50 mg kg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes people crazy. It's like, I don't know how to calculate that out. So I've done it for you. There's actually on this member forum I'm telling you about, there is a grid that shows you how to do that. But when we're talking about allergies, we may need to be in the category of 3 to 4 times that amount.
Yeah.
Right. So maintenance dose isn't going to cut it, is what I'm getting at. You may have to really bump up your omega-3s in order to fight back the level of inflammation that's actually happening in the body, especially if you're paired with arthritis or some other inflammatory condition that's also going on, right?
And now that my brain's working, I can remember the other supplements that Gouda gets. One is quercetin, which is another one that we've been on for years and years and years, and we double that up during spring and fall. Stinging nettle. We do that every day, all year. That's part of our maintenance protocol. And then one that I just added actually is luteolin.
Is what?
Luteolin. I think that's how it's pronounced.
I don't think I know that one.
Luteolin. It's another anti-inflammatory that's used a lot when dealing with mast cell tumors and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just since pitties are so prone to it, it was something that was recommended that I go ahead and add for her recently. So yeah.
Check that out. Interestingly enough, quercetin was next on my list. People, I would rather see people use this than Benadryl.
Yeah.
Right? Benadryl has a lot of side effects to it, especially when we use it long term. Just in general, our mission is holistic and natural, if possible, right? When possible. So some people call quercetin nature's Benadryl, but it is an excellent option. It's primarily an ingredient that comes from apples. So give your dog apples as well as snacks and treats. And now, can you give them enough apples to get to the level of the supplementation? No. But you know, you can certainly add that in. We talk a lot, or so the nettles is also a natural antihistamine, and it you often find products where nettles and quercetin are paired together in the same product. If not, you can buy them separately. If anybody needs access to full script, I'm happy to set up an account for you.
I was just getting ready to say, I get almost everything through Full Script.
Me too.
Unless it's gold standard or something like
right,
that.
unless it's Young Living, it's going.
Yeah.
And it's professional grade products, right? You have to be a practitioner to have an account to be able to do this. So there's some great stuff in there. But yeah, and then milk thistle you mentioned, that helps the liver, dandelion root, liver, kidney kind of thing. Burdock root, which used to be in the food we fed and now is no longer there. And I can't help but wonder if that's part of why Tigger has started to itch again, that the recipe has changed.
Yeah, she did get really super itchy
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah. So burdock root, licorice root, burdock root will support the liver, again, helps with detoxification. And licorice root acts a little more like a steroid would, right? It's not, it's a natural version of that, but it can be very helpful to quell inflammatory responses.
Mhm.
We're going to come back to the essential oils in a minute. And then I recommend a couple of homeopathic remedies that everybody keep on hand for the red hot flare up, right? Those big flare ups. One is belladonna. Anytime we have red hot heat inflammation where you visibly feel it, see it red hot, belladonna is a good one to use. Now, these are not things you would use every day all summer. If you're into the homeopathics, we need a different regimen, maybe even a lower amount, you know, for a sustained amount. But in those acute flare-ups, these are great options. So think belladonna, sulfur. So that ties back to the product we were talking about before, which is a sulfurzyme.
And that's Young Living. I don't know if we mentioned that. That's Young Living.
And so it also, obviously it comes in many forms, right? Different ways of getting different stuff, but having the homeopathic remedy on hand is a good one when we have irritated, itchy skin or even with hot spots. And then histaminum, histaminum, easy for me to say, is a natural allergy support option from homeopathics. And that actually could be something that you did a low dose of all season long.
Yeah. Histamine. You're gonna have to write that one down.
And then apis. I use apis for things that are. Oh, I'm gonna hang on, Angela. I'm gonna have to cut this out.
Okay.
Hello, this is Dana. Yeah. Okay, I can do that. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Bye. Okay. All right. Where was I? Oh,
the A one.
apis.
Apis.
So I use apis anytime I have like hives or those, you know, just like red spots, reds, you know, or any type of puffiness. When I first moved down here, and I still haven't figured out what it was with Poppy, 2 springs in a row. She came in and her head was like twice its size.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know what she got into, but it made her face swell up. So of course, the first time it happened, I'm cramming all these remedies into and on her as I'm thinking about heading to the vet, right? It's not in place of sometimes. But it settled itself down. And then the next day it did the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? So I'm searching the yard. I never did figure out what it was, but it did it again the next summer. And but it hadn't happened since. So really don't know what that was all about. But a lot of times you need to respond to the acute flare up while you're figuring out what your next step is going to be.
Yep.
What else?
Did I mention turmeric? Did I remember that
You
one?
mentioned that you give it, yeah.
Turmeric, yeah.
And so so you can give turmeric. The best way to do that is to make sure that it goes in with a fat and within black pepper, they say. In part because that helps, something to do with how it's processed in the body and how the liver responds to it versus eliminating it all. It gets used better. Every time we get on, he wants off the couch. Every time. And then the active ingredient, really, the constituent in turmeric is curcumin. And you can actually buy just the curcumin if you need to do that. Let me grab him.
I'm using a tincture version of turmeric from NHV. That's really good. It's alcohol-free tincture, so you have to keep it refrigerated.
Yeah.
But I'm using the NHV turmeric, and I'm also using the milk thistle tincture from NHV.
Yeah, tinctures are great because you can just shoot them in the gum if especially if your food starts getting what some people might call muddy, where there's just like too much crap in it that it doesn't even taste like food anymore.
Yeah.
Tinctures are great. Or if you have a dog that's kind of in crisis, you can at least get that in their mouth and into the bloodstream. And I've done that with a number of dogs that are not eating, like they just refuse everything. Using the tinctures has been really helpful for a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
So what can we do to soothe when we have these flare-ups, right? You can make a green tea or a chamomile tea or a combo tea misting spray. And I do that quite a lot. You brew the tea, like a cup of tea, and you put it in a spray bottle, zhuzh it up with some essential oils or some coconut oil or anything that can act like a dispersant to be added in there as well. And you can mist the dog basically as often as necessary to try and soothe their skin topically. I also love the animal sense ointment.
Yep.
It has essential oils in it. It also has a lot of other really good soothing elements to it. But if you need to zhuzh it up with other oils like more lavender or more copaiba or more frankincense that would help soothe those like their paws or their underbelly or all the ears, all the places that get a little heat to them, that can be super helpful.
Yeah. And if I get a dog that's scratched themselves where they have open wounds, I'll add some helichrysum to the animal sense.
Yeah, that's really good for healing injuries like that for sure. I watched a video the other day and in fact gave it to Maria. They did a tea spray, but there was something else in there that was a little unusual. Why can't I remember what that was now? I don't know. It'll come to me just like you came to the quercetin.
Yeah. The one that I've been using for years and years and couldn't remember.
But Other skin soothing essential oils would be like Roman chamomile, carrot seed oil, and carrot seed oil comes in two formats. There's an essential oil version of it, and then there's also what would be a carrier oil version, right? But both can be super helpful to soothing the skin. Coconut oil, not my favorite, but if that's all you got that day, or olive oil or avocado oil, then by all means use it topically. And if needed, you can take some of that with your essential oils and make a little rub down for them that is very helpful for soothing as well.
Yep. I like to use baby wipes too. Put some essential oils in some baby wipes and sort of let them soak for a day or two. Wipe
That's
down feet
that's
and
actually
paws.
the video that I was thinking. So they took paper towels. You could easily take those little cotton rounds, like makeup remover cotton rounds. But this particular video, they took paper towels, put them in a glass, little square glass container, like for the kitchen, that has a sealable top on it. And they made like the green tea. Oh, it had aloe vera juice in it. So lots of liquid, right? But they made this spray, this concoction, and poured it all over those paper towels. So then when they need to, when they've come in from outside walking, or when they see a flare up, or when the dog seems to be really itchy, they'll get one of those, wipe down the paws, and that can help soothe as well.
Yeah.
I'm a little more lazy than that. And just like the misting spray, it's just one shot, right? I don't have to.
I know. I don't know why. I never even thought about making a misting spray. Yeah, that's easy. That's what we're doing this spring.
It's super easy. Exactly.
Actually, Gouda's worst season is the fall, believe it or not. Whatever happens in the fall is worse for her than the spring.
Mhm. Well, that's when those like wheat fields and all, we're moving into that category, I think, right?
Yep.
So, a couple of things to avoid: Benadryl, Zyrtec. See, people give Zyrtec every day. I know a lot of people who do, and it's advised by the veterinarian. I just know that there are better natural options like quercetin and nettles without the side effects.
Yep.
That's important. And then Apoquel and Cytopoint. Please don't use those. Just please don't use them. There's an article on my website on the welloldk9.com, letter K number 9. That's what I was trying to say earlier. And just type in Apoquel or type in Cytopoint, and you'll see why that is problematic. The short answer is those two drugs, they will suppress the immune system. They basically convince the brain that the body doesn't itch. They're turning off those receptors. They are not fixing the root cause.
Yep.
So the inflammatory condition, or the absence of a mineral or a vitamin or whatever it is we're trying to resolve, is missing and still not resolved. The mind just tricks the body into thinking you don't itch anymore.
And if that's the route you take, you're going to have to continue that route forever and ever and ever because you're not fixing the problem. You're not finding out why the dog's having this reaction.
Well, not only that, you're likely to run into some other problems because we haven't gotten to the root cause.
Yeah. And not to mention the long-term side effects, the big C.
Absolutely. And they're very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are very expensive. And there was something I was going to say about Apoquel.
Neuroblocker.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It'll come back.
Side effects. I'm trying. What do we go through?
Yeah, the big one is that you're not fixing the root cause, and that you're further suppressing the immune system, when our goal is to optimize it. Our goal is to make it better, not turn it off, right?
Yeah.
So you have other, and so far nobody that has called me who has been on Apoquel or Cytopoint has left me still on those drugs. Right? We're able to make it significantly better, if not completely resolved.
The logic is there. You just have to trust the process.
That's right. If you're looking for shampoo, so we talked a little bit about the misting sprays, and I want people to really evaluate their shampoo. And that includes what your groomer may be using. Ask them specifically, read the label of the product they're using, because a lot of those products will have in it, when you look them up, it'll say skin irritant, or, you know, harsh chemicals or sulfates, or all those words that we've been hearing about for years are still in many grooming shampoo products and conditioners, even though it says medicated or soothing or whatever. The ingredients are still quite problematic for a lot of products.
Yeah.
There is a new product that just came out from CBD Dog Health in a collaboration they did with Four Legger, and they have a new, really clean, skin soothing, no toxins whatsoever, no chemicals like that, in a really great new shampoo and a soothing spray.
Good.
So that's an option for
Have
folks.
to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw in there too, if your dog's eating healthy, they typically don't need a lot of baths. They don't smell. Good
Right.
might get 2 baths a year, and that's because she rolled in something stupid outside in the yard.
And Poppy just gets hosed off after the ocean, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
really get a shampoo bath. You know, so if your dog is itchy and inflamed, speaking of baths, Epsom salt soaks are fabulous. Right? So just let's put them in where their paws can be in the Epsom salt. You can add essential oils to that as well. Those are super helpful.
Yep.
For foods, I would encourage anybody who has a red hot itchy dog to stay away from salmon, to stay away from venison, chicken, anything that Chinese medicine tells us is a hot protein. There are some vegetables there. We can even classify essential oils and herbs sometimes by hot, neutral, cool, or cooling. You know, so when you're in this state, everything needs to move to that cooling category.
Yep.
And so those would be things like whitefish, turkey, rabbit, duck. Those ingredients are going to be much better options for these allergy dogs.
And I would love to know who decided that they should put salmon in every food that's labeled sensitive skin and stomach. I'm not going to name any brand names, but if you walk through the pet store, everything that's for sensitive skin has salmon in it, and there's no logic behind that.
Yes, there is. Omega. That's what they're trying to get to. You're never going to get enough omega out of your kibble. It's going to be a minimum dose anyway. And honest to goodness, omega has the potential to go rancid really fast, especially in a bag of processed kibble, right? But that's why. So Chinese medicine tells us that wild caught salmon would be neutral. But the minute we move into farm raised, we're going to have a hotter protein source. And the reason being, so we have to think when we talk about if it's hot, warm, or hot, neutral, or cold, what is the lifestyle of that animal? Not our animal, the animal that they're going to eat. So a bison meandering out through the fields, you know, uncontained, is going to be in that neutral, maybe even cooling category, where the deer that's and the chicken that all the time, they're a little more frenetic, they're going to be in that hot category. So when we farm raise something, what have we done? We've put them in a big old container with no room to go. So they're sort of this I'm doing it with my hands again. Dang
It's
it.
it's entertaining. I wasn't going to say anything.
um yeah, so they're in there and they're in that frenetic state again, which is why it can be different depending on how the animal was raised.
I didn't think of it like that. That's very, very good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what else? We talked about probiotics. You might want to experiment with fermented foods. If it's yeasty, then stay away from the ferments, right? If we're dealing with yeast, stay away from the ferments. If it's seasonal allergies, then adding them in is probably okay. And then you may have to experiment with any of the nightshades if they're currently going into your recipes. So again, we don't like a whole lot of starch in the recipe, so we tend to stay away from potatoes anyway. They are included in the liver cleanse diet, and there's a reason behind that, but nightshades are not always ideal for our allergy dogs. No flea and tick meds. You don't need them. You can do all of that naturally. So yeah, no sprays, no dips, no collar. I met a lady recently whose dogs had on the collar, and she thought that was an improvement. She thought she was doing better than the topicals that go on the dog's neck. And I said, it's really not different other than it's a slower release, but you still have a product that's making its way into your dog's bloodstream, because those collars aren't repelling anything. They're all still waiting on the dog to be bitten by the insect in order to drink enough blood to die. So the collar is not reducing the toxic load on your dog. It is slowing it down over time, but it's still going.
I heard those collars when you first put them on smell like chlorine.
I wouldn't know. I haven't
I've
touched in years.
never been around one. If somebody comes here with one, I always take it off.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want any dogs getting it in their mouths.
Little collars that are supposed they have like a little medallion on them that's supposed to do some sort of repelling, and I don't even know what or how that works. If it's sound, I would think that would be extremely annoying to the dog.
Yeah.
So
All I see is anxiety.
exactly. Exactly.
We have herbs and oils for that, though.
Everything. Everything. So, what else? I think we covered all of the gist of it.
Yeah. Proactive, reactive, what to do if you're having an outbreak. Maybe, so I know that you've got a protocol, sort of a antibiotic substitute if you do have a dog that has created some open wounds and you're worried about some bacteria or anything creating an infection. Maybe go over that.
Um, yeah, because a lot of times the doctors will want to put the dog on antibiotics and steroids for a variety of things.
Yeah.
And there are herbs, essential oils, and even CBD, and some mushrooms that can function as natural ways to resolve those issues, right? Natural alternatives to antibiotics. And so there's an immunity blend from several different companies. Now, quality matters. You could make a blend out of oregano, thyme, and basil, or even just one or the other of those three, whether that's essential oil or herbs. And if it's an herb, we're going to add it to their food. If it's an essential oil, it might get added to some of these misting sprays or ointments, or even stirred into their food with something fatty, so that the heat of those essential oils is not just landing directly in the belly, that it goes in with food and something to absorb that a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of options for natural flea and ticks. Natural antibiotics.
Antibiotic. Do you think for some dogs, and I'm just asking your opinion because you have tons more knowledge about this than I do, for dogs that we sort of know going into the season they're going to get bad, like historically this has always happened, is it okay to sort of start a protocol of, yeah, like an antibacterial protocol with your pre-seasonal protocol?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think I want to recommend that to some people whose dogs are just completely miserable through the
Yeah, because I mean, if
spring
you
and summer.
wait, I'll just give you an example. I'm allergic to cats, right? If I go into somebody's house that has a cat, my eyes will, I can tell instantly. And so I've even started asking on my questionnaire, do you have other animals in the house, so that I know, and I'll take quercetin before I go. But if I take it before I go, I have no response. If I take it after I'm exposed, it takes me a couple of days to get past it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're trying to catch up from it and it's still coming in, right? And that's even with me being removed from the cat. Once you're in it and you're going to be in it for a while, it's going to be really hard to play catch up for sure. So it's just like going to get vaccines. I tell people, especially those who are not eating kibble, who are not eating fresh food diets, at least a couple of weeks before you're going to go do that, change the diet. If you can't do it forever, do it for right now, before, during, and after, to help the body during that time. And so that's the same principle here, is what can we do to prime the pump? And that may be getting the milk thistle or the dandelion root or the burdock root or whatever it may be on board and into the process, and then use the others on an as needed basis. Yeah. I lost your sound.
No.
Oh, there you are.
The internet's kind of poopy here today.
It's actually held up pretty good based on what you said earlier.
Good. Brian was having a hard time working right before I logged in, so.
Yeah, so kind of to recap, omega-3 beyond what's on the label in most cases. So come into the members.welloiledcanine.com. Sorry, y'all. The grid is in there. Look at your quercetin and nettles, milk thistle, burdock root, dandelion root, any of those things that you can put on board that are early management of histamines. Eliminate the fleas and ticks, and really think about the shampoos and the things like that that you're using, and then put your essential oils into everything. I do.
Yep.
I use it for all the stuffs.
And
Well,
LLP. I keep a roller ball of LLP, lemon, lavender, peppermint.
yeah, so that's a favorite of many women who have seasonal sinus, and I've used it many times. And you basically take lemon, lavender, peppermint, 1 drop of each or equal portions of each. You can put it in a roller ball with a carrier. You can put it in a little essential oil bottle and just put a couple of drops out, or you can layer it 1 drop at a time. And I keep pointing back here because that's where most of us put it, is right behind our ears. And honestly, you can start to feel the clearing begin when I'm exposed to a cat. I do the same thing. Right, I feel that clearing start to take place. I'm talking about cats and my eyes are itching.
That's not a conditioned response at
No,
all.
it's not. Not even almost.
That must be why the dogs start getting itchy so soon. They see green grass growing, like, oh, it's time to start scratching.
Well, yeah, and so we kind of think about that too, right? They're exposed to everything far more than we are.
Hmm.
If we walk outside, yes, the pollen's going to be there, we're going to breathe it in, but they're getting it on their paws. You're going to come in and kick your shoes off. They've got it on their paws, they're going to lick their paws, so they're going to ingest even more of it. If it's open, like if you've opened the windows in your house, it's going to land on the carpet and the furniture, and they're just going to keep it on them a lot longer than we would, right? So that's an important thing to remember. And then if we're also pairing that with plug-ins and laundry soaps and dryer sheets and all of those other things that can be skin irritants, we're going to be in a mess. So reduce as many of those elements as you can, knowing that you're moving into the spring season where they and perhaps even you are going to be exposed to all this. And nothing we have said today is any different for the human than it is for the dog, except maybe the food recipe, but the ingredients are the same.
Yep. Now I know
You
that,
might not need flea and tick sprays. You might need a mosquito spray. I know I do. They eat me alive.
yeah. I love it, the Young Living's little uh repellent wipes. Instead of like spray and stuff, they have these nice little wipes and individual packets that I can
Yeah.
keep in the truck if I'm out somewhere. I
Yeah.
love those.
And I take the insect repellent. It comes in a bottle, it's liquid, and it's a squirt bottle, right? But I will take a portion of that and put into a spray bottle, maybe with a little witch hazel or something like that.
Mhm.
And I can spritz the dog, I can spritz me, and I keep that in my car. That's easy to do.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
that's
do
was
too.
one of the things I love about these products is that I don't have to have a separate spray for the dogs versus me. We use the
Yeah.
same one.
Yep.
So that's a budget saver in a lot of situations. But I do keep those insect wipes in my car also. Yep. What else?
Oh, wipes, bugs. Trying to think what else happens seasonally. Ears. Should we go over ears? All the products that Dana mentioned earlier, like antibacterial type products, creams, spray, like if you get ear infections basically because of allergies, because of an unhealthy gut, a lot of times that is sort of part of the package when it comes to the season changes.
Yeah. More often than not, the ears are going to be related to the gut.
Yeah.
It is a trying to eliminate something that the gut hasn't been able to process. And that's true of like skin flare ups sometimes too. Skin's our largest detoxification organ. So it's got to, things have to go somewhere. They're either going to be eliminated through the skin, the ears, the pee, the poop, the whatever, or they're going to get stored somewhere in the body, which is where we start to have other issues surface, right? But you can make an ear wash. You never want to put essential oils directly down into the ear canal, but you could get coconut oil, a little apple cider vinegar. And again, you can take a little jar, make a little liquid, and take those makeup rounds and just put it in there. Or have you know what I'm talking about, with the little jar where you go swish, swish, and it brings the liquid out to the top? Those are wonderful. And you just swab down in there with a little cotton round, never a Q-tip, because if your dog moves, you're gonna puncture his eardrum. But that can help clean it out. You may have situations where it recurs. People have chronic recurrence. That means two things. We have not fixed the gut, and we have not fully ever cleared what's already in there.
Mhm.
So there is a ear wash recipe on my website that's easy to use.
And I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'll send it to you later to post, but there's a plant-based ear wash. It's called Clean Ears that I use here just because I get lazy and I don't want to make stuff.
Mhm.
So I keep it for, especially after the dogs go outside and play in the dirt and roll around and get
Yeah.
disgusting. Like it's just I just like to proactively just sort of clean their ears out so they don't get buildup and stuff in there. And I think it's just witch hazel based with some other,
Mhm.
good cleansing property stuff.
Yeah. And so, people say, "Oh my God, tea tree." I'm not scared of tea tree. It's not an oil I want you to use all day, every day, but to add it into some of these products that we're talking about making, they work wonderfully. And you can always put essential oils on the ear flaps or behind the ears, or, like if you're putting like the ear washes that we're talking about, they're going to go in and you're going to squish them around. Let me get my demo dog. Can you see him? So rather than dropping it into the ear,
Um,
you're going to put whatever liquid, and then you're going to come squish around in there, right? Versus your finger being down in the ear canal. So you just sort of squish around in there.
Oh, lift him up. Can't see him anymore. There
You
you go.
squish, you squish instead of going, you squish, right? So, and then the eyes also can get very watery, weepy, Um, and you can take green tea or chamomile tea or both, and let the tea bag cool, and you can use it like as a cover for their eyes for a little while. Put a couple of drops of that liquid, because you're never going to squeeze it all out. And you can let those drops go directly into the eye. Not going to be harmful, would be very soothing. And you could even take your green tea and put in a dropper bottle and use it like eye drops.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. And
Especially in my
sometimes,
dirty
so
play yard.
I am not always a fan of colloidal silver. It's coming up a lot in some of the forums that I'm in, as it's going to solve world peace and eliminate every disease known to me. It is not, y'all. It's not the be all end all. But it may be a time that you could put into one of those little eye drops, or even into the ear washes, if you think there is infection happening at that time. We don't want you to use it long term. There's too many long term risks associated with it. But short term, acute type instances, it's probably fine. Um, I had somebody call last week, and they had been told to use colloidal silver, and their dog was actually turning blue, violet, if you will. Um, Used far too much, and it's irreversible. You're not getting that stuff out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not coming out. So be careful with the tips and tricks somebody throws out to you on the interwebs, right? I saw one, and it happens every day. I'm in a dog cancer group, and somebody was asking about the diet for the dog. Well, first of all, we need to know your dog. We can't just throw out whatever. But somebody is, ivermectin. It's not a parasite, y'all. It's not a parasite. There may be times when parasites, there's starting to be some study about that, but is not likely the solution. You need good diet, essential oils, mushrooms, anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, all of those things. You don't just need ivermectin. It's not going to fix it. It's the bigger protocol that's going to work.
Since we're talking about seasonal stuff, also as a reminder, always don't let your dog go swimming in retention ponds and standing water. Don't let your dog go and chase the ball in the water for an hour and inhale too much salt if you're at the beach. Like,
Yeah, so blue-green algae is a real thing. It happens primarily when the temperatures are really hot and the water's standing. And you might not even see it. It might not be visible, but it could be very deadly to your dog. So there's an article on my website about that as well. Everybody who has a lake-loving dog or a stream-loving dog, you need to go understand that. And then a couple of years ago, one of my friends came down here with her dog, and the dog kept trying to drink ocean water. And I said, you got to stop her. You can't let her do that. And it was virtually impossible. So I'm like, you've got to get out of the water. Well, they didn't want to, right? Anyway, the water's fun, but you cannot let the dog drink it. So we come out of the water, we're headed back. This dog has explosive diarrhea. I mean, I've never seen anything like it but it was all the water coming out. That salt water is going to come and it's going to create an electrolyte imbalance, which can be extremely serious. So anyway, you need to keep fresh water with you. But we got her home and I gave her Ninja Red. I'm trying to replenish all that has now been expelled and all the salt water that's in her body, right? And we kept close watch on her because I was ready to go to the ER. Again, I've never seen anything like that, but I have firsthand seen saltwater toxicity.
yeah. Yeah. And even if it doesn't look like your dog's drinking the water, if they're retrieving, they're taking in water.
That's right. Exactly right. So, yeah. All right. Well,
I
good.
think that's good. That was a lot of information.
It was a lot of good information.
Hopefully some good questions will come from it and we can help some people get prepared.
Yeah. All right. So check out Angela's website. Oh, wait.
Oh, somebody drank the funny juice today.
Email Angela at
Email Angela at number 4, number 5, number 6, 456 k9coach@gmail.com.
yeah, and check out my website, welloldk9.com, for a ton of blog articles and a lot of references and resources that you can look to. And then if you need more help, want to dig deeper into any of these topics, it's in the forum. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for joining us on the Well-Oiled Canine Podcast. I'm Dana Brigman, your canine nutritionist and certified holistic pet health coach. I hope you found today's episode valuable and inspiring for your journey towards better health for your dog. Don't forget to visit me at thewelloiledcanine.com and check out our members forum for lots of discussions, interactions, education that you won't find anywhere else. That's at members